Hey there, bibliophiles. Let's break it down. A lot of people say I have a canny way of making horror feel approachable, but seriously, I've got nothing on Shea, aka Shea is Reading. The way she gives us her reading updates, complete with memes, has me laughing every time. She has this effortless way of breaking things down in a way that's hilarious and insightful, but it also keeps us and authors accountable. She takes a step back, spots patterns, and our corner of Bookstagram is a unique experience I've come forward to looking forward to. Hey Shay, how are you doing?
So good. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah. This has been a long time coming, and I know we're constantly in each other's DMs, but I was like, you know what? We're too
Yes.
hilarious to just be in each other's DMs. We need to talk
Gotta
on the
give this
pod.
to the people. Yeah.
So, I know you just did your profile rebrand.
Yes.
Um, what has your reading journey been like?
Well, that's so deep because I've been reading my whole life, but I think like a lot of us, in college, I kind of took a break, and like just wasn't interested in reading for fun anymore. So I'd maybe read a book a year. And then after COVID, I really was like, I want to read again. Like I used to be such a reader. And so in 2023, I started picking books back up again, like really intentionally. And it's just gotten to be more and more every single year. So now I'm like almost to 50 books in half a year. And I don't know how that's even possible with like, I don't know, last year read like 30, no, 20 books, right? Like, so the fact that my momentum has sped up and I can just consume all these books is crazy. But it's been a blast, and Bookstagram has been a huge part of that, of like reading more in a good way, but sometimes in a hard way.
True, true. And I know a lot of your reviews now kind of circulate around thriller and horror genre. Have you always
hmm
been that genre reader, or have you dabbled?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think I started in like when I was a kid, I liked romance stories more than anything. That was actually where I kind of started in things. I was big into like when I saw the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, I was like, this is my whole personality now.
I
So
love
that
that
kind
movie
of
so much.
it's so perfect. It's a comfort movie. I know every minute of it, and that really drove a lot of my interest. But at the same time, like one of my favorite books in middle school was called The Girl on or The Face on the Milk Carton, which is about this girl who's like at school and casually she sees her face on the side of a milk carton because like in the 80s and 90s they put missing kids on the side of the milk carton. So she's like, wait a second, that's me. And then she goes on this journey and kind of finds out that she was a stolen child. So very thriller forward. And that's a whole series. It's like 6 or 7 books. And I checked those out from my middle school library. Thank you.
Dang. That
Yeah.
must be like one of the worst feelings ever of like your entire reality is just upended.
Yes. Right. And I think that's what made me so interested. I was like, oh my God, life can change in a second.
And I do think that's one of the more underrated things of the thriller and horror girlies. Like, we are grateful for the things that we consider stable in our lives because
Yes.
it's really not that far off if you think about it.
Right. I mean, that in particular is like she's just living her life, everything's normal, and then one day something happens and you go, wait a second, everything I thought I understood about my life is not real. Um, and I think that's something that could happen. So it's almost like dealing with anxiety in an external way, where it's like, here's the worst thing that could happen. How did these people get through it? So that I could maybe deal with it.
Oh my god, that tracks. I relate to that on a spiritual level. Like, yeah.
Prepared for, if a man that's kind of a monster walks into my backyard and his child runs into my arms now, because I have read When the Wolf Comes Home. So I know exactly what to do.
God bless Nat Cassidy for the survival skills. How to get through
Yeah.
menopause, how to get through
Mm-hmm.
postpartum, and how to get through random child in your backyard that you need to
Yeah.
figure out.
I've got all the skills.
So it's fiction, but it's also nonfiction survival section.
Correct. Yeah. I like reading survival books. I guess that's what
Yeah,
I should say.
yeah. Okay, so for you though, what considers like a survival book? Because like I know you're reading Headlights right now.
I am, yes.
Does
And
that
I'm
have a little
not,
bit of it?
yeah, I mean, I mean, almost every horror and thriller book, the people, our main characters, have been abused in some way. So they are already survivors when we meet them. And then they get thrust into something that is either out of this world or just like maybe even crazier. Headlights, I think I'm like 20% into the book right now. And I got a little confused because I'm in part 2 and she started the chapters over. So I was on chapter 3 and I was like, I am so not on chapter 3. I got really confused. And then I was like, oh wait, I'm in part 2. Okay. Everything's fine. It is, the murders in that book are insane. And I'm so interested. Like, I just need to know what the heck is going on. And if Danny is involved. Like, if he's actually involved, like he's being targeted, or if it's like he just thinks he is, because he's a little into himself.
Yeah, and I really liked how, because I haven't read American Rapture, but I've read Mayfly. And it's like, this is completely different. Like, the pacing, the character, like,
100%. Yeah. It's so cool that she's able to be such a diverse author. And from what I know, I tried to listen to American Rapture, and I just didn't like the narrator, so I stopped and I bought the physical because I was like, I think I'm going to like this, but I need to read it with my eyeballs. And the tone is completely different. So the 3 books, from what I can tell, are light years apart. I mean, Mayfly and Danny could not be more different.
I know you've got Mayfly who's like, I'm 100% that bitch, get out of my way. And then you have Danny that's just like, I am the horror is me, everyone just get out of my way, I will harm you.
Yeah, I can't even look in the mirror. Like, that's Danny. Yeah, Mayfly would be like, put mirrors on my ceiling.
I am delighting you by entertaining you with my presence.
Yeah, I'm here. Enjoy. And I will say, like, that vibe gets me immediately. I also like a hashtag man hater. I have a hard time with male leads in general. I am always really interested when authors are writing not their own sex as a main character. Because, like, I I went to school for playwriting, so I've written a lot. And when I think about writing, I always put women as the main character. Like, I'm like, I don't know what it's like to be in a man's head. I'm not going to even try. So it's always interesting to me when people can do that and then also do it in a way that feels really authentic, which I think Danny feels very authentic. I will say that.
Yeah, and I know there's like a trend of I won't read books with a female main character written by a man. And like I get that because it can be done wrong, but at the same time,
Totally.
like we have Grady Hendrix, we have Nat Cassidy, like I feel like you're also limiting yourself to some really great books just because you've
Yeah.
made this arbitrary rule without exploring.
Yep. And I felt that way for a long time, and it was 100% Grady Hendrix that made me go, okay, I need to give some of these a chance. Because maybe it will make me mad, or maybe it will be awesome. And so I think it's definitely like you're taking a chance. I've read some books where I'm like, wow, this is pretty rough. But Grady Hendrix really shocked me. I was like, he gets it. Honorary girl. I like, wow. How'd you do that? Like, I just felt so seen by, oh my gosh, it's such a long title. The vampire one. Um,
The
Southern Book
for
Club's Guide
Vampire
to
Slayers.
Slaying Vampires. Yeah. Uh-huh. That was my first one that I actually listened to that one and then bought a physical copy. That was my first time that I was like, I need this, like, physically too. He just picked a great narrator. I just was like, I can't believe this is written by a man. Like, it struck me so much. So yeah, you got to give the guys a chance. You do.
Yep, absolutely. And I think too with horror, because it does get, I mean, every genre gets a little personal. Like we've got the romance girlies and the dark romance girlies where it's just like emotional vulnerability 24/7, but I do think in horror it's not just like this person is mad and killing everybody. Like there is this emotional vulnerability in it too. And I think that's why people get upset of like I don't think this character is believable. Like we don't
Mm,
care about the emotional vulnerability.
yeah. Yeah, I think that people think slasher, like they're thinking gore when they think horror. And slasher and gore, that is a brand, right, of horror, but there's so much more to it. Um, I think two of my favorite like subgenres of horror are I love a haunted house, I love a gothic, and those typically are not very gory at all. Like there's usually almost never any blood. It's a lot of spooks in your house. I get why people would not want to read that if you live in a house. It's kind of hard. But I love a haunted house. Um, and then I also love beauty horror, which is usually does have a lot of gore in it because it's beauty. But I think it just talks about the female experience and like being online and, or not even the female experience because I would say that um, Nothing Tastes as Good is a beauty horror. Um, and that is about weight loss, you know? So it just like ties in our life now in such a poignant way. And like, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need your haunted house recommendations because usually I don't like it. However, the
Yeah.
September house I thought was great, but blood comes out of the wall, so there is blood in September
Okay.
house.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and there's always hallucinations and things like that. But like if I think about The Shining, there's some at the end, but like and he goes on like a killing spree, but there's actually really not that much blood. You know? Like the in the end, one person dies. So, you know, I don't know, in the grand scheme of horror, that's a limited amount of people dying. um Another one I really like that's a good like gothic haunted house that definitely doesn't have any gore is called The Silent Companions. I read that earlier this year, and it's so good. It's haunting. Essentially, this woman loses her very rich husband, of course, and then she moves into the house that he owns in like the countryside of England. Classic. We love that. It starts with she gets in a carriage accident, which is classic of Gothic as well. You have to have a car or a carriage accident. And then she gets to the house, and there's this room that's just always locked. And of course, she's like, well, why is that locked all the time? And inside the room are these. I've never heard of this, but I guess it's like a style of art in, I don't know, somewhere. It's like these big wooden figures that are painted. And so they're called the companions. And I guess the original woman of the house had bought the companions. And you get that woman's story as well, since she's the one who bought them. But then these companions are just like showing up all over the house. It's very creepy. It's a very different kind of story, and I loved it. It was super good.
Yeah, and I think too, now that you mentioned there needs to be like a car or carriage situation, I'm like, wow, Rocky Horror is a haunted house story. Because there is a car scenario.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it. It's just a haunted
Yeah.
house movie. That's really
Yeah.
all it is.
That's all. That's all you're doing.
My
Yeah.
mind's blown right now. Okay, adding that one to my TBR because I want to know like the backstory of the companions. I'm hooked. So I'll give Haunted House another try. I will read that
Yay!
one. But yeah, I mean, nothing tastes as good. I, I think especially with beauty horror, like physical appearance horror, there's also that element of rage to it, whether it
Yeah.
be feminine or masculine. And yeah, I think that one is my favorite, like vanity horror I've read in a really long time. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I think that one dove a little bit deeper than we typically get out of beauty horror. Like, when I go into beauty horror, I'm usually just like here for a good time, not a long time, you know? But I still enjoy it. And that one did, like, I mean, I had to put the book down and be like, oh my gosh, I feel this so deeply. It just resonated. If you've ever struggled with your weight, you will understand this book on a personal level.
Yes, absolutely. And I think too, we're getting a lot more millennial authors, which is such a unique perspective now. Like in Nothing Tastes as Good, he talks about Pokemon Sapphire. I'm like, that was my game growing up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting this kind of millennial humor in horror now, and I kind of adore it because we're
Yes.
exploring parent relationships, we're exploring our relationship with technology, like in a way that's never been
Mm-hmm.
done before, with a dark humor that's never been done before. So I'm here for it. I love the millennial authors now.
100%. Yep. I mean, obviously, like, I get it intrinsically, so it just makes it really easy. But I'll also say what I love about it too is so many of those authors are the kindest human beings, and just like they like the Luke comes to mind, Luke Dumas, who wrote that book, and then also Sarah Van Oz. Oh my God, she's so nice. She's so nice. And just like the fact that they're out here like talking to Bookstagram the way that they do, and are so like, it feels like we're peers, and I get to be like in on it too. You know what I mean? Like, not only does your book like rock, you are also so cool.
I just recently read Decomposition Book, and
It's next on my list. I'm so excited.
oh my god, the dark humor, Shay, you're gonna. Because, like,
Mm-hmm.
camping for me, like, I'm Italian. We don't camp. That's not. That's not an enjoyable thing. Like, so,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, it was so highly recommended. And I was like, okay, like, I get it. And, like, camping may not be, like, 100% of what's going on here, or
Mm-hmm.
hiking. Um, the dark humor, like, my god, it is, like, superb god tier for me. I had no
Ugh.
idea going in how funny it was going to be. So please, I need live updates when you read that one because uh
Oh, I'll supply. I'm so excited. Everything I've heard, like, there's a couple of books that I feel like have just been 5 stars across the board from everyone who reads them, regardless of what they typically enjoy. And I think that speaks very highly of a book, because so it's that one, Decomposition Book, and then What Feeds Below. Those are the two that I've just, everyone has said it's 100% the best book I've ever read. So I'm very excited.
What Feeds Below. I think what I like about What Feeds Below too is like it's very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a little bit of everything. Like if someone's like I'm new to horror, that is going to be one of my recommendations now.
Yeah, sure.
Decomposition Book, I think it's going to depend on the person because the dark
Yeah.
humor is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but God, they're just What a year to be in horror and reading horror. It's been a blast. Like, it's been so good
Yes.
to us.
Honestly, I mean, everything that's dropped this year for the most part has been one of the best books I've ever consumed, and so different. Like, I mean, we're talking about a couple of very different books here, and then there's fucking Tradwife. Like, that book is crazy, and so different than anything I've ever read before. Just absolute
So,
joy.
Saratoga Schaefer's Tradwife, because there's a
Yes,
book called
yeah.
Tradwife by, like, I forget the author's name, but she's got the green cover. Um,
That, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've read both.
Okay. Saratoga Schaefer is the one that I've already read. Sarah Langan, I think, is the other one.
Yes.
And I have that on NetGalley, so I will get to that. I want to read every Tradwife book this year. So far, Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer was. I think it just surprised me so much with where it went that I was just like, love it. Put 5 stars on that one. Um, Yesteryear is the other one I read, and that one, eh, I get why it is the It Girl book right now, because it's an interesting conversation, but it was long and it dragged. So that's where we're landing in Tradwife territory for me right now.
It's so funny because, like, the people that I know read horror at work are like, oh, read Yesteryear. I really want to hear your opinion. And then, like, everyone I know on the social media space is like, eh. So I'm a little scared for Yesteryear. Like, I am, that's the Tradwife book I'm most afraid to read.
Yeah, so what I like about it is being able to talk to so many different people about it. Like, not only do I get to talk to the online community about it, but like people in my life are reading this book too. And typically, I'm not reading the same books as other people in my life. They don't want to read what I'm reading. So it's kind of nice to have something to talk about, even if it's not like the best book I've ever read or anything.
Shay, I swear to God, just this week, I gave Clay McLeod Chapman's Wake Up and Open Your Eyes to someone at work that I know that is kind of reading horror. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so later on, I asked about it, and she was like, oh, this other person saw it on my desk and read the blurb and was like, are you reading this now? Because I would be really interested. And I was like, what? Like, this person reads horror? And she was like, yeah, she loves horror.
Uh,
I've worked with this person for 6 years and I had no. You bet your ass I IM'd her and was like, I've
you're
heard
like,
this about you. I've had,
hello.
and like, we had a whole conversation about horror and recommendations and stuff like that. And she's been a long time reader too, so it's just crazy how you can like stumble upon your community. And like, if you had told me she read horror, I would have been like, oh,
Yeah,
wouldn't have pegged that for her.
right.
So it's just the horror community is giving lately, and I love it.
Yeah, we're here. I think it's also like if you feel in in hopefully not an offensive way, you feel a little closeted. Like as a horror reader, you sort of like you live in your little closet and you're like, I read scary books. And you don't want to talk about it. Like I've had someone ask me for a book recommendation and I straight up was like, well, I read horror, so I will give you a recommendation if you want one, but like, do you want one? Essentially.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, sure, I like, and then I did it, and I could see her face just like dropping as I was giving descriptions of books, and I was like, okay, so see, this is why I don't talk about this, because we read different books. and it's
And
and
that's
it's
okay.
fine. Yeah, it's fine. No judgment at all, but like, you don't want recommendations from me.
See, and that's how I feel as a horror girly. Seeing off campus getting so popular right now, I've had so
Mm,
much of my romance friends be like, Kendall, you need to watch. It's so great. And so I'm not a big TV like viewer to begin with.
yeah.
So I just finished episode 3 last night. And I'm so terrified to be like, at the end of that episode, my literal response was like, nothing happened. Like, nothing happened in terms of like progressing the plot forward. And for me as a
Yeah.
horror reader, I'm like, I hate this idle time. Like, I get
Mm-hmm.
it. There's a few steamy scenes. Like, I love this for you girls. Like, I
Right.
hope you enjoy. But like, I just sat there like, I just watched an entire episode and nothing really happened.
Yep. And my sisters are really into, and they're both horror readers actually as well, but they branch out. My sisters were like, you have to watch, oh, what's the big one? The hockey one.
Heated
Um,
rivalry?
Heated
Or,
Rivalry. Yeah. They were like, you gotta watch that. So I said, oh, okay, I'll try it. I made it halfway through one episode. First of all, men. So I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, everyone. I don't care. I don't. If it was two girl hockey players, we might be in a different spot. I might be more into it. But um, it just was like, it was very intensely sexual. And not that I think that that's a bad thing by any means, but there is no plot. You know what I mean? It's just like them hooking up and like liking each other. And everyone's like, you gotta get further. There is stuff later. And I'm like, okay, but like, hook me, get me
right.
in here. You know, I can't. I get bored very easily. I got an ADHD scrambly brain, and I cannot.
Well, and I think, the intended audience, right? I mean, I haven't seen Heated Rivalry, but like if the intended audience is for those fans, like of course they're going to give them that kind of scene up front so that they're hooked, but for other people where that's not really our go-to, like yeah, it's going to take us a little bit more to try and be hooked, which there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it just not being our particular favorite, but it's just we're not the intended audience and that's okay too.
Exactly.
However, I think that also shows because, like, when your favorite movie, because I love Pride and Prejudice too, don't get me wrong. Um, I've watched that movie way too many times to publicly admit. But, there is this layer of sexuality about it, but there's no explicit scenes. And yeah, that could be not someone else's cup of tea either. But
Mm-hmm.
I think for that in horror. It's the yearning. It's the striving. It's that anguish. Like we really love. It's
Mm-hmm.
sick. It's horrible, but we love it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I don't want things to be just given to me. And I think even in horror, I think that's why I actually don't love slasher books that much. I love a slasher movie. Like, I think it's fun and campy and it's a good time. But as a book, I'm like, it feels a little boring because everything's kind of given to you. It's very formulaic. Not that there's anything wrong with that, again, but it's just not something that really hooks me and keeps me going. And I think you're right. There's no intrigue, right? I mean, Headlights is one where I'm a little like this right now, but there is such a hook that I'm like, I must know more. I must know more. And it just is going to keep me going because of that.
Yeah, yeah. Headlights, like Mayfly, it took me a while. Like, okay, I'm getting it. We're leading up to something. I feel in my bones it's gonna pay off. And it did in a wonderful way. Headlights, like chapter 2, 3, I'm like, I want to know everything. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
am fully seated, CJ, listening to every word. I want to know more.
Give me more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I feel I'm a little bit the opposite, only because uh, I love an asshole main character so much. I love when someone just comes out and they're like, I'm an asshole, here I am. You've got me at full attention. And I don't know what it is about those characters that just. Maybe it's like the brash confidence just really is intriguing because well, I certainly don't feel that way. But just like, you're like, here I am, take me or leave me. And then, of course, it's going to devolve because you're a narcissist. Like, come on, it's going to be crazy. So,
Well, you have to appreciate the confidence and the honesty. Because, like, if you
mm-hmm.
open it and you're like, spade's a spade, and then it's extra amazing when you know the person is a villain in the beginning, and somehow, like, a little bit of you is like, rooting for them. Like, oh, good for
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
glad this worked out for you. That to me is such a great horror book.
100%. And Mayfly, I'm gonna say that it is it's a villain love story. That's really what that book is, and I didn't expect that. I wasn't anticipate. That's why I said that's my heated rivalry, because he is a hockey player.
Right. Dark romance girls. Go pick up
Yeah.
Mayfly. Like, come on
Yes.
now. There's no
What are you
excuse.
doing?
We have Mayfly right here.
Hello.
But no, I'm really excited for the horror genre. I've been seeing a lot of changes. I, it's just a really special time right now, and like, I hope it continues. I hope it continues to grow. Part of me is worried, like, what if we hit a lull again? But like, I also want to be present in the moment and be like, dang, there are just some good books coming out right now. Thank you, authors and
Yes.
publishers. Like, my God.
Yeah. Honestly, if we hit a lull, I'll have time to catch up, so that's fine. Because I have so many books to read. I think also, like, horror has always been a really inclusive space because um, horror stories and, like, folklore really rely on talking about, like, the taboo. So it's always been a space where people who don't feel seen or heard can kind of speak. However, it's also been dominated by Stephen King and other white men for so long. And now we are just seeing the voices that we've been looking for, like getting through and being able to see all kinds of like queer stories and stories from women and stories from people of color in larger groups than I feel we've ever seen in horror, which is just great. Because I felt like I was searching for those books before. Like, where's not a white guy horror story? And now it's like, they're everywhere. They're raining on me.
Yeah, and even just like the white authors, I was talking to Clay McLeod Chapman, and he
Yeah.
said, like, the best thing is that he's finding authors that don't look like him. Like, it's such a supportive community of like, if you have a good story, we're all ears. Like, I just finished the Reformatory, and
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, the
Yeah.
author's name escapes me. But it real like if you're listening and you're not really a fan of horror and you really like the movie The Sinners and you want to go like 6 layers more deep, read The Reformatory. As someone who has a
Mm-hmm.
minor in the history of the American South, like, I was hooked from the get-go, and it it is a long read. It's a longer read than most horror books, I would say, but it is a
Yeah.
worthwhile read.
Yeah. And I do like that, like, twisting of history a little bit. I just read Odessa, 6-star read. Oh my God, it was so good. But that
Really?
is also, oh, it was incredible. That is also like a piece of history that I didn't know a lot about. It's about Jews in Russia in the early 1900s. It's literally set in 1900. And it's about a folklore from the Jewish community called the Golem, which I didn't know about. And so I learned this folklore through the lens of that book. And so that's another reason why I love horror, because folklore is terrifying. Yeah, I mean, you think Grimm's fairy tales, right? That's like the white version. There's that shit all over the world, and I've never heard it, and I need you to tell me it. So please keep writing these books, because that was incredible. I absolutely loved it. And Reformatory is on my list. I have it as an audiobook because it's long, and so therefore it scares me. So I'm gonna listen to that one. But I've heard such good things, not just from pure horror people, but from people who read like lit fic and stuff as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it really is something that grabs a lot of people, which is nice.
Right. And I think, we're doomed to repeat history if we don't keep it in the front of our minds and understand. And I always enjoy my horror with a little bit of reality, but at the end of it, like, I really did think to myself, like, my God, what a reminder of how horrible humans treated each other, but also what a reminder of how we could do better today. It
Yeah.
really brought it to the forefront of my mind, and it's now my new historical horror recommendation. I
Yeah.
thought it was beautifully done.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like I am struggling with the feminine rage super popularity going on right now.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's almost becoming like the new slasher. Like, if I just see an angry woman for the sake of being angry, like, I've read a few books where, like, I just haven't connected.
Mhm.
Like, I'm already an angry woman dealing with my own emotions. Like, I want to see some sort of payoff. And there's been a few books
Yeah.
lately where I've been like, and I've seen them being pretty popular, and like people being like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I love this," and I'm like, "Oh, I really wish this wasn't your front door to horror." So I feel like
Yeah.
Feminine Rage, while I appreciate it getting more people into horror, I'm also at the same time like, there's a way to go about this.
I agree. Yeah. There's been some that have kind of just given me pause, I think, of like, number one, what are we considering feminine rage? Because like I've read a couple where I'm like, this was billed as like a feminine rage horror, and this was like maybe weird girl lit fic. I don't really even know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so that line is getting blurred a little bit. Um, and also it's you're right. Like a slasher, it's starting to get formulaic. It's starting to get into a place where like people are just kind of writing that same story over and over again, and there's no new key into it. There's no new conversation happening. Um, that's kind of why the one that stands out for me as a feminine rage book this year is Cruelty Free. And first of all, it's beauty horror, so that's an interesting one. But also like the way that moved forward and the way that it ends is so different than a lot of, because usually feminine rage is good for her, and that book is not good for her. Um, like everyone gets their comeuppance in that book. And so that I kind of enjoyed. It was a different play on that story to me.
I really want to read that one, especially after Nothing Tastes as Good. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those two might complement each other because it's just, it's also like with Nothing Tastes as Good, it makes me think like, is the problem the individual or society as a whole, which is something that I've been thinking about lately because, the
Mm-hmm.
horrors of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree because I think there's a fine line between weird girl and
Mm-hmm.
feminine rage. Like, I know Molka was the book of the month for that subscription box, and a lot of
Yeah.
people have been saying that I've been seeing they liked The Eyes Are the Best Part more than Molka.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Mocha is rooted in such reality. I didn't realize that this was an actual problem, except for
Mm-hmm.
Monica's author's note at the beginning, like setting the stage. Like, you
Yeah.
know, camera voyeurism is a huge problem in South Korea right now and laying that all out beautifully.
Yeah.
Um, that motivated me as a reader to be like, oh my god, no wonder she's mad. No wonder this character going through this is so upset. It
Mm-hmm.
added that layer of depth where I feel like with the eyes are the best part, had this layer of intrigue and mystery. Um, but I'm like, yo, like, there's such good stuff going on in Molka.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I mean I love Monica Kim. I loved both of those books. I thought they were really in they're very different stories. She writes
Yes.
similarly, like the voice is very similar. You know what you're gonna get writing wise from Monica Kim, which is unlike CJ Lead, where I feel like even the writing is different in like her two books or her three books. Um, but the eyes are the best part. I mean, that was one of the first horror books that I read as I started to get back into reading. And so it sort of has like a beautiful nostalgic place in my heart because it's like the thing that made me go, oh my gosh, I have to read more of this. And so it's hard for me to judge it because of that. But Molka, yeah, same. I I did tell my husband, I was like, I wonder what this is gonna do for travel to Korea because I'm a little afraid. I don't want to go pee anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it is just like, again, it's learning about something that's happening somewhere else in a different culture, and there's scary shit happening everywhere, unfortunately.
Yep. It's raising awareness too. And
Mm-hmm.
well, also the eyes are the best part. That cover is gorgeous. Like horror books, it's really hard to find like a nice, beautiful one, but that
Yeah,
cover, you
yeah,
see that and you know.
it's
Like,
perfect. Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting into. Yeah. I will say, I think horror covers are some of the best covers out there. I
really?
think, oh yeah, I love them. I think they're just, I think they're beautiful. Usually they're pretty simple. They have like a stark like difference in color tones and things like that. Not all of them are winners, but so many now. I think we're going with like bright, shocking colors, and like they've gotten really, really good.
I agree. Like now, I'm really loving the covers I see now because back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, they were all Stephen King and they were all kind of dark shaded and they would have
Mm-hmm.
like, Carrie and I think her name's Annie, Annie from Misery, and like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like old timey movie capture scene,
Yeah.
which was great because you kind
Yeah.
of got a little glimpse into what the book's about. But
Right.
when you write so many like Stephen King on cocaine, like they kind of blur together.
Yeah.
Um, which no disrespect, but it just is what
Yeah.
it is. But now if I see a Stephen King book next to a The Eyes Are the Best Part or Mary by Nat Cassidy or
Mm-hmm.
God, even American Rapture, like
Mm-hmm. So
completely different
different.
vibes.
Yeah. Yep. And we're just getting like I think the cover is becoming a big hook for those, at least for me. Like Nothing Tastes as Good. That cover is excellent. I love it. I love the jelly donut. It's so perfect. You know exactly what's gonna happen. I mean, obviously the title really gives you. I mean, we all know that quote. I mean, if you were, oh, sorry.
It's okay. You okay?
Yeah, this my insulin pump is yelling at me.
I didn't want to assume.
I have a I have a patch style pod pump, and
Yeah.
it does this yelling thing, and sometimes it just doesn't stop. So even though you tried to stop it, it doesn't turn off. And so then there's like supposed to be this sneaky way that you can take it off and turn it off, like by putting like a pin in it. But that usually doesn't work, so I end up having to just like take it and throw it outside. So there's just like this screaming thing in my trash.
That's so, it shouldn't be funny, but it's also so funny at the
You
same
gotta
time.
laugh at it, cause like otherwise you'd scream.
Right,
Because
right.
it's like the worst sound in the world. So at least I have a place where I can put it. When I was living in apartments, it was way harder because like where do you put it?
Right.
And people would say you could freeze it, like you could throw it in the freezer, and then it would turn it off. But that never worked for me. So I was just like, I resorted to going outside, whacking it with a hammer. That didn't even work one time. I was like, what am I gonna do with this thing? It's just gonna
You know what?
scream at me.
And I kind of love it because there's like this topic of AI and technology in horror, which is getting renewed.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like William, where if you created like an AI autonomous figure, but I think with like the healthcare industry too, like my husband started having like a sleep apnea, CPAP for sleep apnea or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, um, it will narc on you and tell your insurance company when you don't use it, which could incur a
Yes.
fee. And so me, being a tech girly, is like, if I don't hook it up to Wi-Fi, how is it gonna know? No,
Right.
they pay for the data connection. Like there's a the Bluetooth chip. Like they pay for it to run on its own data, and I'm like, this is why people have such hard feelings about insurance companies in the health industry right now
Yeah.
because like there is just so much surveillance and like everything that we're doing. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, but here you are with this, and like you just
Yeah.
can't get it to shut up when you want it to
Right. It's
shut
like,
up.
fix that problem. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend of mine who started a CPAP recently, and she was saying the same thing. Like, it'll tell on me if I don't use it. And I'm like, how, how are people going to treat this issue if you are first of all, it's blowing air up your nose. Like, if it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. um I feel like it's not explained that you can go in and get things like refitted and, things like that. So like, if you have a CPAP and you're uncomfortable, please go get it refitted because it'll feel better, I promise. But like, then I don't want to be hooked up to something that's going to tell on me. Like, I just want to live my life and treat my diseases. And like, if my pump suddenly was going to be hooked up to my insurance company, the way I would go back to injections so that no one could follow me, I would be so back. Like, that is so gross. I hate that a lot.
Well, there was also a huge uptick in calendar sales when Roe v. Wade was overturned because women were so scared about tracking their cycle in the app. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yep.
technology horror is going to be this huge opening door.
100%. Yeah, because it's so prevalent. And I think we see a lot of thrillers that deal with that, right? Like, I'm reading Julie Chan is Dead right now. And that's more about like influencer culture and stuff like that. But it does talk about kind of like our dependency on technology. And so in a kind of different way. But there are definitely things like sci-fi horror is something that I think is so interesting. And a lot of the time we get stories that are like, oh, robots, whatever. But I am really interested in those almost Black Mirror type stories where it's like
Mm-hmm.
this one little thing in technology has sort of shifted, and now we are living a completely different life. That really is interesting to me.
Yeah, me too, because especially when it's done right. Um, there was in Mayfly when she was talking about luring, this woman into like revealing her most deepest, dirtiest secrets, and she's
Mm-hmm.
like, I did this on my VPN. I uploaded it to this with the server and this IP address. Like, I was like, as a
Yeah.
person who works in technology, like,
Mm-hmm.
well done explaining it, because so many people would just be like, I put it in the cloud, and I'm sitting here as
Yeah.
a reader like, what the fuck does that matter?
Right.
But the fact that she broke it down, it's like, yes, it is this easy for someone to ruin your life and get away with it. I was like, as a technology person, like, well done, because it is that scary. That resilience, that misunderstanding around it, like, it's huge. It's so underrated. Like, I don't have Alexa in my house.
Mm-mm.
I have Siri turned off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, it's so convenient. And then we're hooked. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Ring Doorbell
Mm.
was advertising during the Super Bowl the whole will record and monitor your footage through the AI. That way if someone's looking for their dog, like basically it would group think across all the local, and it's like, no, that's surveillance. That's
Yeah.
surveillance. Like
Right.
um so yeah, the
Well, and
horror.
it's like capitalist surveillance. So it's like it's interesting because we think about government surveillance a lot. Like, when we read like OG horror, I would say 1984 is an OG. Like, I don't know where to put those kind of stories where they're like dystopian. Like, is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Maybe it's both. It doesn't matter. Probably not. It's horrifying. So I'm gonna call it horror. And we think about like government, right? Same with like Handmaid's Tale. It's all government based, where the government is in charge. But like in America, it's capitalist, right? Like, it's going to be a company, it's going to be Amazon that is the one that is like taking over and surveilling us, and like in that kind of place, not the government necessarily.
Well, and it could even because I there's anti-China USA tension right now. There has been for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but there was very real conversations. I forget if it was the first or second term of Donald Trump, but talking about going digital currency and just no longer having cash. Like, that is the first step to them monitoring what you're buying when potentially blocking it. I mean, that is something they do in China with everything going on in WePay and stuff like that. Like that, we're not, you take the personality out of it. Are we really that different? I don't know.
Yeah.
And people that were supporting it because of convenience, because it is so convenient.
Yeah. Well,
But
if you
but
think about like Amazon Fresh, is that the store where like if you have a Prime account, you can go into the store and it just like scans your face and pays for you. Like you don't even have to think about prices. So then you don't know what you're paying for your groceries. You're just like grabbing stuff and leaving and it feels convenient, but then like you have no idea what you've spent. Also, it opens this up to there was some conversation about like bigger box stores like Target and Walmart um, taking the tags or the prices off of all of their stuff and changing the prices per person based on shopping trends. So you would bring your stuff to the, and this is something that happens when you have all digital currency, right, is that like they can change the price based on you as the person, and that is number one, would read that horror book so fast. But like in real life, please don't. I don't want that.
I have seriously, because like personal finance is like another hobby of mine and passion of mine. They don't want you to know the price when you walk out because they want you to put it on your credit card and pay 12% to 25 to 30% penalty for the rest of your life.
100.
Like I
Yep.
I have had the idea for like a while now, but I'm also really bad at just like sitting in front of the computer where like what if like debt companies like were really like the Illuminati and like you could just like feed off their soul and they're like
Oh
pay
my
off 12 years
gosh.
of debt but give you
Yeah.
5 years of your life and so they're young forever. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have thought about putting that pen to paper to try and teach people like how, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying like don't use a credit card, like credit is
Right.
horrible, don't get a mortgage for your house, but like
Right.
with Affirm and Klarna where like people are paying ahead on groceries, which I understand, like life
Yeah.
is hard right now, but you gotta be aware when you engage with it.
Oh yeah, you can. So one of the OG, I would say, let's say that I think this is maybe an OG horror story. Have you ever read or heard of Madame Bovary?
Mm-hmm.
So Madame Bovary is a really interesting one, and I don't hear about it a lot, but it's from the early 1900s, late 1800s when, and this is a piece of history that I think is so interesting. Like when, what it like Macy's, those types of stores, department stores, were becoming like big. And one of the issues at that time was, women didn't have any access to money, right? LOL. So how did they get around that? They created credit systems to make sure that women could still be shopping. And so basically that whole story is about a woman digging herself into so much debt that she kills herself. Like it's a horror story of like just feel the pressure of debt and what credit can do to you. And I can't believe that that was written in in a time when it was just starting. Like very similar to how we're talking about like AI and stuff now. That author, and I don't even remember their name, was talking about like how dangerous this credit system could be in its infancy. So interesting because I mean, yeah, it's a hole you can dig yourself into and just never get out of. Hey.
But I also feel like it could be like such like a nothing tastes as good Luke version of like, well, I don't understand just having avocado on toast and stop ordering coffee out. Like you're gonna have that section of people that are like, we don't
Yeah.
understand. It's really
Yeah.
not that hard. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like step aside. Like there is like
Mm-hmm.
a genuine struggle here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I ever like just am able to lock in on a single thing in my life and sit down in front of the computer and write it, we'll see. But
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh man. Yeah, I've been because I think whenever you're a reader, you're a little bit of a writer as well. You consume so much media, you start to learn what writing looks like. And obviously, I have a degree in writing, so I love it. I've always done it as like I read, I write, I consume, I let it out, right? And one thing that I've been working on for a long time is it's so stupid. It's like such a 1960s like horror kind of thing where mosquitoes start turning people into mosquitoes. So that is definitely something I'm still working on. I'm very excited about it, but I don't know what to do with it. It's just like living on my computer right now.
Shay, I need this. Also, have you seen Google is spreading mosquitoes?
What?
Oh my god, no. So this is a conspiracy. Yeah. So Google is
Okay.
spreading like I forget how many thousands of sterile male mosquitoes. I forget like what their thing is, but like you just have to full stop of what the fuck is Google doing with mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Like are they robots? Like what is this?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to do a little research, and apparently there's this virus that can make people allergic to red meat, which can be carried by
Oh,
mosquitoes. So some
yes.
people are
Yeah.
thinking like lobbyists for like environmental whatever are trying to get people allergic to red meat so we stop. And it was just such like a thing. So no, I
Yeah.
need this book, Shay. You
Oh
need
my
to write
God,
it. Like
I
have
love
Google
that.
release the
That's
mosquitoes.
so funny. Oh my gosh. That is not at all where I was coming from, but that's hilarious. I love a conspiracy theory. Oh my gosh. Because like
Yes.
sometimes I'm in and sometimes I'm like that's crazy, but I love it anyway.
Right, like do I believe it? No. But like my god, that's an interesting story, you know?
Right.
Like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That makes me think of the latest Jurassic World, I think, where they like brought everybody back. Um it was not fantastic. I wish they had actually focused on the bugs more. Like there's a whole bug plot line that was like about all the um like crops disappearing because of like these giant bugs that were basically evolving because of what had happened with Jurassic Park, right? So it was like giant bugs that are creating an issue, and I was like, we should have just stepped away from dinosaurs and done this because that's like it's new and it's interesting. Um, I do love bugs in horror in any way. It's kind of gross, but they delight me.
come on, Shay. You're talking to the girl that loves cannibalism and horror. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah, well,
okay.
same. Yeah. Yep. I feel like sometimes though, as disgusting and depraved as cannibalism is, you can almost get people in the door to that easier than with bugs. Like I think as soon as you're like bugs are coming out of people or whatever, people are like, "Ugh!" and they're like, no, thank you.
That's true. That's true. For me, like, it's like the bugs have to serve some purpose. Like, if it's just bugs to be
Mm,
bugs, like, it's like the
yes.
slasher. Like, if you're just doing this to gross me out, like, I'm not
Correct.
really that invested. But if there's
Right.
bugs of like a plot device, I'm in.
Hmm. Totally. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Well, now I'm really excited for you to read Decomposition Book.
I know. It's next. I'm reading Japanese Gothic right now, which is really good. I'm enjoying it. That's another haunted house book. So
I, as always, look forward to your reviews because they're such a light on my feed. Like, it's like I don't even know what the book's about. I'm learning a little bit about what the book's about, and now I'm laughing. Like, that's how it always ends. I'm laughing.
good. Yeah, I mean, it's hard in this space. Like, I don't want to give anything away. Sometimes,
Right.
like, how I feel about a book really has to do with specific stuff. So that's why I kind of just leaned into, like, some short things that kind of just give you the vibe so that you understand, like, here's a bite of what this feels like versus, like, what it is exactly. Um, and then also having emotional reviews instead of like deep dive reviews because I don't want a book to get ruined for me, but I love hearing like how it affected people. Like that's what I like
Yeah.
to hear from people, whether you're doing it in a video or keep writing your long captions. I promise I read them. Like sometimes I skip like summaries or anything that says spoiler, but like I like that people make that very clear. We all want to have our own relationship with the story, and that is kind of a hard part about reviewing books online for sure.
Yes. Because it's just, how do I hook you without telling you too much? That's why it's like, okay, here's the summary of the book. And now, in like the AI thing, so many people have been like, why did you use AI for the summary? And it's like, it's literally the same summary that's on the book. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
even my summary. Get off
Right.
my ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I put the quotes because it's like, this is just a few teaser snippets of like
Yeah.
why I like the book in its
Uh-huh.
own words.
Yep.
But it's just you don't want to spoil it or like you need to call it out that way people. But how much is too little, how much is too much?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a fine line that I feel like
Totally.
you do very well, and I need to do better.
No, I like yours as well. It's just it's a very different way to do it, right? It's just like I don't keep quotes. I don't like highlight. I don't grab quotes for my books. So then I've looked at yours and gone, oh, should I do more quote stuff? And I just don't grab them. So it's just a different key into it, you know?
Well, and I think too, it's like, I like doing that. I like
Yeah.
collecting them. And so, like, if that's what I can provide, sure. And it's like, you think of memes and GIFs to, like, connect these and, like, song lyrics. And I'm like, my God, the girl is so creative. Like,
Oh my gosh.
so we all have our strengths. And
That's
it's
exactly
beautiful.
right. Yeah, I'm the Chandler of the online space. It's a joke. There's always going to be a joke. I think that's just kind of how I think. Like, I like to make things funny. Um, Even though I will say a lot of horror is funny. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
people give it credit. That much of horror is very dark humor a lot of the time, but very funny. And just like I don't know, finding the humor in some of this stuff makes it a little bit lighter.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. Because it's a coping mechanism to deal with the horrors. Like, we gotta laugh through it. It is what it is.
Right.
Let's just laugh.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So for listeners that are like, "Oh, I want to be in on the joke. Like, I want to know what Shay's reading and how she responds to it. Where can they follow you?"
um, on Instagram, I'm at Shea is reading. Shea is spelled like the butter, Shea. Um, and I also do Fable and Margins. I have the same name on all of those platforms. So that's where you can find me.
Well, for listeners, I will have all of those links in the description. That way, they're easy click for you. And Shay, thank you so much for coming on. As always, great conversation. Weird but hysterical.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to talk to you.